Donald Trump, he took a trip down to D.C. Mr. Trump goes to Washington. Well, some of his friends were busy, but as we hear more and more reports come in, reportedly it went pretty good. That some things didn't necessarily work out. There were several Republican lawmakers who actually skipped the meeting altogether. Fox News, though, confirmed there was also a tense exchange during the meeting with Senator Jeff Flake. He's the junior senator from Arizona who actually introduced himself to Trump with something like this, quote, "I'm the other senator from Arizona, the one who didn't get captured, and I want to talk about statements like that." Now, obviously, he was referring to Trump's comments about Arizona's senior senator, John McCain. Joining me now to discuss, Kathy Taylor, Kelly Riddell, Steve Rogers, and Lisa Booth. Lisa Booth, let me start with you. I'm hearing mixed signals. I think maybe the news out of there was the meeting, the first face-to-face meeting between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. If they can bury that hatchet, I think it goes a long ways toward uniting the GOP.
Right, and I think this has been Donald Trump's challenge, is getting the Republican Party to rally behind him. We saw since May and June, just within the Fox News poll, he saw an 8% drop with Republican voters and their support. But as you mentioned, he's taking positive steps, getting someone like Governor Scott Walker to speak at the convention, getting someone like Senator Ted Cruz to speak at the convention. All of this stuff is even someone like Marsha Blackburn. I think we're going to continue to hear these big names, and that's a huge moment for Donald Trump to make his case to Republican voters, to make his case to the Republican Party, and to show that sign of support and unity.
Now, what I read, Kathy, is that also Donald Trump said everything right, okay? It's like he's on board with a traditional Republican, if you will, the traditional Republican platform. But there was also concern that once he leaves, he's not going to be on board anymore. In other words, he, sort of seduced him. He's an amazingly charming guy, but a lot of people still want to see if he follows through on it.
That's right, because the course of Trump over the last 9 months has been 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's need to be a continual walk forward. And that's what top Republican leaders are looking for.
You've been spending time in D.C., and this is what they're telling you face to face.
Everybody, it's a pretty consistent message coming out of D.C., and that's what folks are looking for. And so Trump really has to continue this message, not just 1 day, not just 2 days, not just 3 days, but now it's time, because he may have written the art of the deal, but now he needs to think about sealing the deal.
Well, there's also the political deal, right?
He's got to get the leadership on board now, too, because otherwise we're a party of mixed messages, and that's not effective.
By the way, I want to let the audience know, you're looking at the podium for President Obama, who's going to come out and make a speech here very shortly. We'll take it live for you, and then we'll have a panel weigh in. Steve Rogers, I think the battle here has been a couple of things. A tough campaign by Donald Trump's own admission. It was really gritty, bare-knuckle fight. But also the idea that he is doing things differently. It's his party now, and there are a lot of people in power who don't want to see that happen. One way or the other, it's going to hurt them in many different ways.
And that's what they're not used to. We have finally a man running for president of the United States who is thinking what the American people are thinking. I've said from the beginning, the establishment has been out of touch with the American people. Donald Trump has been in touch. They need to get over it. They need to understand that he will be the next president of the United States. And let me add this. I'm going to be at the convention. This idea of brokering a convention and trying to steal it from him, that will be the doom of the party, not Donald Trump.
Aren't they close, though, to this sort of being able to vote your conscience? I understand that they're real close to getting the votes to make that part of the deal.
They are close, but we have to be careful as a party that we don't run before we walk. Right? Even if that were to work out from a mechanics perspective, which is very difficult at the end of the day, if the American people feel that that party or that vote was taken from them, even if they weren't that pro-Trump, it's going to be an issue. And this party has shown that we need to work on our messaging. Unless we think about how we're going to handle that with voters at the end, there's no point in doing it in the beginning.
They're making calls to delegates. They better not make a call to me, because I will stand by that man's side right to the end of the convention.
Kelly Riddell, I want to bring you here because we got fundraising numbers from Donald Trump yesterday, significantly better, although still trailing Hillary Clinton. And some say that underscore, if you consider at the same point, I think in the same month, Mitt Romney raised $100 million. The establishment is the establishment. I know that they've lost the trust of the people. There's no doubt about that, even before Donald Trump entered the race. But can he win without their help?
No, he can't win without their help. He needs about 90% of the Republican base to turn out and vote for him. But this is what I think is going to happen, is after the convention, you're going to have a lot of these never Trumpers or come to the realization that, oh my goodness, this race is truly between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And one is a serial liar who has profited off of the government in her life as a public servant. And they say that they will not vote for Donald Trump today. But after the convention, after they realize all these antics have failed, they'll come around.
We've got to leave it there. James Comey's testimony putting the brakes on a strong start to trading today. We'll discuss the employment report. That's tomorrow. It's